Welcome back to another intriguing episode of A Penny for Your Thoughts. I'm your host, Penny Rose, and today we dive into a captivating story of Kenny's keys, unlocking the heart of Bowling Green High School. In this episode, we uncover the heartwarming and inspiring tale of Kenny, the beloved custodian. Known for his ever-present smile and unmatched dedication, Kenny has been the silent guardian and unsung hero of the school for over a decade. From unlocking doors to unlocking hearts, his keys have been more than just tools. They've become symbols of trust, safety, and community. Join us as we explore the remarkable impact Kenny has had on the lives of students, teachers, and staff. We'll hear touching stories of his kindness, anecdotes of his wisdom, and moments that have left an indelible mark on the school's history. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfortable, and let's delve into the extraordinary journey of Kenny and the keys that have unlocked so much more than just doors at Bowling Green High. It's time to shine a light on the man who has truly been the heart of the school. Today, we welcome someone who brings warmth and joy to all those in Bowling Green High School. He's not just special to me, but a beloved figure among everyone else. I would like everybody to meet Kenny Richardson.
Kenny from the day custodian at Bowling Green High School.
So you're the day custodian at Bowling Green High School. How long have you been doing that?
I've been a custodian at Bowling Green High School for 10 years now. 8 years as the day custodian.
So you've been doing custodial work for
25 years between Davis County and Newburgh.
So what year did you first start?
1994, August.
So you said you started your first custodial job in Owensboro?
Well, Davis County basically. Owensboro is kind of like Bowling Green here in county.
Okay, so Owensboro is the city school, and then Davis County is the county schools. Okay, and you started work for the county schools.
Yes, I started Davis County.
And how long did you work in Davis County?
12 years.
How many schools did you work for?
All but 2.
All but 2. That doesn't help with people who don't know how many there are.
There's 9 elementary, 3 middle schools, and 2 high schools.
So you worked for everything but the high school?
No, I worked with all the high schools. I worked with Miss 2 elementary.
So when you left Davis County, where did you go?
I went to do other things other than being a custodian. I didn't think I'd want to do it anymore.
What made you feel like you didn't want to do it anymore?
Just got burned out. I didn't feel comfortable anymore as doing it. I thought I was going to be working at Lowe's Home Improvement for a few years and thought I was going to be full-time there. I enjoyed working there.
So you were working at Lowe's and you decided you didn't want to work the school system anymore, cleaning. So you tried to venture off and do other things. Like, what were your ventures?
Well, Lowe's is, no, I didn't do clean. I was working in 3 different departments: tools, hardware, and wood, which is considered millwork for them.
Oh, okay. So like lumber.
Lumber. But I went from, I stayed in the cleaning part of it because I worked at the Gourmet Express, Newburgh County Job Corps, which was also as a night custodian.
Oh, okay. So you cleaned there.
I cleaned there. My favorite one was working with termite control.
Oh, okay. So you did termite prevention or eradication.
Yes, I helped take care of termites out of houses before they laid me off.
Why'd you get laid off?
Because of the distance of where I live between the main buildings.
Where was the main building at?
It was in Bowling Green. I lived in Newburgh County.
Okay, so that's like an hour and a half drive just for the office. Yeah. After you did Terminex and they laid you off, what did you do then?
I went to Newburgh County School because I went back to what I knew.
So you just went back to doing the same old. How long did you work at Muhlenberg County?
5 years.
And then you went from Muhlenberg County to
Bowling Green. We didn't enjoy Bowling Green when I worked at Bowling Green when the terminated. So we had the option to get to work in Bowling Green. We decided to go ahead.
So, and you said you've been in Bowling Green for
10 years.
10 years, and you have worked at the high school the whole time?
Yes, I worked there full time in high school from day one.
Did you work at any other schools?
Not as I worked at Dishman for a few months.
Few days. You did that for 2 months. You worked days at Dishman, and then you came to Bowling Green and worked nights at Bowling Green. And you did that for a little over 2 months. Because I never saw you.
Yeah.
Explain what the difference is between days and
basically
nights.
The difference is you got to deal with breakfast and lunch, and you got
where you said you got to deal with breakfast and lunch.
Work days and the day custodian, breakfast and lunch, also take care of teachers and stuff and principal stuff during the day.
So what kind of stuff do you do for the teachers and the principals?
Simple things like if they need something or somebody spills something in their classroom or light, air conditioning, heat, bathroom clogs, definitely those toilets stopped up.
So you get we got to do copy paper.
Yeah, I do copy paper.
You have to open doors for the people that come in and deliver.
And when they get delivered for cold drinks for the possessions.
What kind of maintenance besides cleaning? What kind of maintenance do you have to do during the day?
Sometimes I take little stuff, like keep a door from falling off a cabinet or something simple. Nothing real difficult, just little
tightening screws, things like that. Yeah. Changing batteries, but nothing on a ladder.
On a ladder.
You want to talk about why?
Go off 5 ladders.
5 ladders, 5 times. And the fourth one was what we consider the worst, but the fifth one was the one that really cost.
It cost the school system.
Yeah, a lot more money because that was on the school's dime, but it was actually worse than the fourth.
Well, in the aspect of the bones, no, I broke 4 bones in the fourth one. I broke only 2 bones in the fifth.
But you had to have surgery for the fifth one. That's what cost so much.
I had to have surgery on pinky and wrist.
Yeah, you had to have surgery on the pinky twice. Yeah, and it still looks crooked.
Now it's fixed the way it's going.
Yeah, it's forever at a 90-degree angle pointing straight out.
70.
No, it was 75 when we left. It's back down to 9.
Pocket. That's all I know.
So the fourth one, why was it so bad? What was the difference?
Because I was on a storage unit and stocking stuff up, and that ladder fell 15 feet on my back. So they thought I either had internal injury or a broken back.
And you had a really bad bruise going across your stomach.
After I hit the top shelf on my stomach, it had laid a bruise all across my stomach. That's why they thought I had internal.
So they put you in an ambulance for how long? 5 minutes from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill, just so they could get you to air vac.
With the helicopter to fly me to St. Mary's and Evansville at the time because we lived in Meeburg.
So it was closer actually to Evansville than it was like Nashville. Yeah. It was about an hour and a half drive from me, but it was like a 15-minute flight for you.
Because I just felt like I was going up and down in the elevator because I was drugged up.
It's kind of like one of those helicopter rides right at the mall. You just go up and down. Yeah. So now you're completely banned from ladders from your wife and the school system.
And on the ladders.
Yeah, they barely let you pack.
I will pack them, but that's as far as it goes.
So who all do you work with at the school?
I work with several different custodians and 3 custodians during the day.
Who's the day ones that you work with?
Danny and Keith.
And so do you guys have certain sections that you stay at?
Well, technically, we do kind of have sections, but I try to take the hardest stuff that's usually do. But technically, we're all the same section, or the one section.
The place where most kids see you in the day is the lunchroom. After they're done eating or while they're eating breakfast, you guys kind of go around and collect trash.
10 minutes before breakfast is over, we go around and start getting trash.
And you do that for the lunch?
Because there's 3 lunches, and we get 10 minutes usually before each one. We do that.
What's the part that you don't like the most?
Those are the staircase. Because the tire going up and down the stairs all the time.
So for any listeners that are not local, the social staircase is kind of what High School Musical looks like. It's got these big, huge bleacher-sized seating. It's for the kids to either sit there and talk and hang out during lunch, or they can eat their lunch on it. But it's just kind of a social area to stop kids from conforming into so they can do groups better on the staircase than they can. Like they don't take up a whole table or something.
Plus, that keeps them from standing in groups if they are more sitting down.
Yeah, it's like, hey, sit down so we can see everything. And you have to go up and down it.
I go up and down at least twice during breakfast, about 5 or 6 times during lunch.
And the only reason why you do that is
because they don't pick up the trash.
Well, we talked about this before. This gives you the ability to go around and actually talk to the kids and mingle with them.
I've always got to know them better by going around getting trash from them.
And it's weird because we can't go anywhere that you don't run into a coworker or a kid. And that's what we were talking about that one day. It's odd because I don't remember custodians or remember even talking to the custodians I had in high school.
I don't remember any. I went to school when I went.
But we were in North Carolina. A kid screamed out your name across the mall.
Where it was from the middle school.
They had to come and see. And then we were on our way back from North Carolina in Knoxville. And it happened again at the mall. And it was during fall break. Everybody was on vacation. But it was just odd that, here they are wanting to come over and talk to you. And we don't usually have that issue.
No.
I mean, I never had that issue growing up. I couldn't even tell you their names or even what they look like.
Well, I remember one of them being really old and they slumped over a lot.
Yeah, that's how mine were. They were all older. I had one that was probably about your age now, but I can't tell you his name. So I have no idea.
I can't tell you if I remember. I just remember them wearing the shirt with the name on it. I don't even remember their names, but that's all I heard.
I remember that ours had like a gray button-up shirt that they would wear and like gray matching, like
they was blue, but we used the Eagles.
Well, I think ours were the same color for the longest time until I got out of high school and they changed it.
Yeah, when I worked there because I had to wear the Meeburg County shirt.
So you cleaned up the school that I went to. What makes it different for you to be so connected to kids? Why is it so much easier for kids to reach out to you than it is?
I'm real positive, but I think it's because I treat them like people. I don't treat them as young little kids. I don't consider myself their boss. I just consider their person that's another person talking to them. That's all. And I think that's why, because I don't consider them as kids. I consider them as people.
Right, and because they are people. I mean, they're younger people, but they're still people.
I don't think of me being, just because I'm older doesn't make me more important than they are. It's the same as we're all the same.
Because your days, you get to school pretty early. So what time do you get there?
5:40 a.m.
Is there anything specific that you have to do when you first get there?
Depends on the weather. It's spring, summer, fall, stuff like that. Usually when it's summer and spring, I have to make sure I get the trash cans out for breakfast and raise all the umbrellas in the courtyard.
You raise the umbrellas all year long?
Because when it's wintertime, we put them up until
till spring gets
till
back.
spring back.
Are they
Now
out
I'll
yet?
put them back to spring break.
Okay, so you take them down at fall break?
Yeah.
That would make it easier to remember. Take them down at fall break, put them back up in spring break.
I know it's getting chillier, so we know not as many kids will go outside, but
Everybody's outside almost all the time.
yeah, they're always outside.
I mean, there could be snow on the ground and they'll still be outside.
5 kids go outside in the courtyard at 0-degree weather.
Yeah. So I sub at the school, and I know that there's kids, they forget that you can cut through the courtyard to get to your classes. And this is a really large school.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it's smaller than the school was, the old school, yeah, because they've just rebuilt it.
Redone. Last year was 2024 was the finish year.
They did it in phases.
Yeah.
Four phases, because they started it the year after my kids got
After I was in 2020, just before COVID.
And then they worked on it all through COVID, and they just got done last year. Yeah. The layout, I think, is easier to understand now than it was, because you had these circles in the old building.
Yeah.
It was built in like the 1970s decor where circles and domes were really popular. Right. And so we have the new pool. And it's Olympic size, but it was kind of iconic when they took the dome down.
What most Bowling Green High School remember for was the dome swimming pool.
If you're not from here, it looked like a giant bubble. That's what everybody called the bubble. They took it down. If you're looking from the outside, you really can't even tell there's
unless you really know it's the pool. Yeah,
and you have to look for it.
Square. So.
Yeah, it's all squared off now, but it's really nice. I mean, they got some really nice features to it, and they've got these automatic dryers in the locker rooms for the bathing suits, and it's really nice. Do you get to leave when second shift comes in?
No, I usually leave. Depends on what day it is, what's going on. If I need to stay at banquets and basketball games.
You said there was 3 on day?
3 that helps during lunch, yeah.
So 4 with you. And then how many are on night?
I think 7. You have sections of cleaning the building.
So you're cleaning the actual classroom?
Cleaning classrooms and offices and stuff like that.
Do they have to do anything else particularly?
Things like I said, basketball games, clean a basketball game, football game, and they also have to set up testing and put down banquets and stuff based on what we need at the day.
And it's a lot more because it's a high school. So if it was a grade school, you probably didn't do that much. You'd probably just be cleaning classrooms, hallways. But you get fall break and spring break off.
Usually work on fall break, spring break, but we do have times we've had to do the construction mostly.
Now that the construction's over with, you guys usually have fall break and spring break off. But if you have to come in and work, you can. Yeah. You only get like just Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So you work all Christmas break. Well, you don't, because you usually take off because you have extra time. Yeah. But you don't get summer off.
No, well, we do have summer. We get a dead period, which is basically the school shuts down. Whole system shuts down, not just us. So
all of Bowling Green City schools and Warren County schools.
Yeah, actually too, yes. It's supposed to give the kids a break from sport.
Working there, you actually probably come in contact with kids in a more casual setting than the teachers do. So you get to hear things that happen or things that the kids are playing.
Yeah, I get to hear a lot of stuff that they don't know. Sometimes they don't even know I'm hearing things because I'm around. Sometimes I hear things that they don't know I hear, most because they don't know I'm standing there or not around, or I sneak up on them as I'm coming to.
Well, that's what the kids say. You kind of have like teleportation.
Yes, I just pop out of nowhere.
That's coming from experience, because if I'm there subbing, I could literally see you standing there in the cafeteria, and by the time I get there, you're gone or you're behind me. What kind of things do you know before the teachers do?
Mostly what, like their skip days. I usually know before the teachers know what day senior skip day is going to be.
You go around telling them?
I do. I don't really tell teachers. I tell the principals and stuff if it's important, because a lot of senior skip days is usually when the senior pranks happen, because they're not going to be at school the next day.
Okay, so they coordinate senior prank day and senior skip day. Bowling Green kind of has like a legendary reputation for senior prank day.
Of them,
yeah. I mean, some years obviously they go above and beyond, and then other years it's kind of small. And then last year they got knocked down before it happened.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want them on the football field. So what was your first senior prank day that you had?
I believe it was the pool. When they dumped everything they found. In the old pool, they dumped everything.
I thought the ladybugs came.
Well, that was the same year.
Oh, it was just two different days.
But the ladybugs and the squirrels wasn't that bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, we just caught squirrel, let it go, because we had plenty of trees at the time. But they were definitely the worst damage to the filter to the pool.
Oh, okay. Like when you say everything was thrown in, you're talking about just the stuff that they had hanging out around the edge of the pool?
Chairs, whatever they could find that would not. They had tires where they used to flip those exercise tires.
Right, and then they had these big wooden spindles.
Yes.
That you would wind up the rows for the pool dividers.
It was awful.
Yeah, and those are wooden, so they got warped.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was messed up in the old pool.
And they had to redo the filter, and it was kind of an expensive prank.
$10,000 if I remember.
None of these kids do it maliciously. No, they're just trying to do it. Yeah, just to be remembered.
Yeah, just to remember.
Yeah. What was the worst?
2 years ago, when they pulled all those seats and desks out of teachers' classrooms and set them in the hallway and had baby oil.
On the floor in the hallway or in the classrooms? Didn't you say they put like glitter or something?
It was hard to get cleaned up before school started that day.
So you know when it's going to be happening, but you usually get there early. That day there, I mean, you were still cleaning them up and getting them ready when the kids were coming.
I was still doing floors when they showed up to come in the building.
Do they ever let you bring people in early with you to clean up?
Every day, almost every day, custodian that day was at the high school getting it back, and plus getting everything back together.
So let's talk about the prank where they had written stuff on the sidewalk, and you'll be 56 this year, right? They had wrote stuff on the sidewalk, and you told Mr. McGraw.
Yeah, the goat. Mr. McGraw was the goat. I thought I was calling him an animal, but he was supposed to be the greatest of all time.
Yeah, and so he was like, you could have left that one, right?
Yeah, I took it off.
So you had to be taught a little bit of like generation lingo. My favorite prank to this day still is the bras that they put all over. It was because I was dropping the kids off to school that morning. They hung them on the front of the school, right? Where kids walk in. And it said, "Thanks for your support." And it had a whole bunch of bras hanging out.
Yeah.
That one's still my favorite.
He just want to clean up too. It wasn't hard.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they'll write things that you have to clean up because, it's high school. And what is a high school if somebody doesn't draw a penis on the wall, right?
Always somewhere.
Do you get people to still write on the walls?
Yeah. It's popular for the boys to some reason draw one.
So those are kind of some of the things that you have to deal with. What are some of the good things? Like, what are the things that you can't wait to
I usually can't wait to see the kids start coming in, saying hi to them, good morning, stuff like that.
I know a lot of kids will say that you kind of go above and beyond to holler out at kids to make sure you say hey to them. And do you think maybe that's why they do it back to you?
Maybe because I do it to them every day. Most kids know I usually say more to almost all of them if I can.
Yeah, and you kind of pick on them.
Pick on the ones I know more than I know others.
Yeah, because everybody's kind of got to the point now where if you don't pick on them, then they're worried if you don't like them. Because usually if I go into the school and I'm in a classroom, if they find out I'm your wife, they're usually nicer to me the rest of the day. It's usually class time gets cut down because I have to answer questions. We've been together for 20 years. We've been married it'll be 15 this year. I mean, we've been together almost as long as you've been doing custodial work. So tell me some funny stories, either with teachers or with principals or...
I can't really say I have too many. I don't have a lot of funny stories, but the first day I was a day custodian, I flooded the quarter of the building.
That's the day Trina called and said, I need you to bring an entire outfit for Kenny. Everything, shirt, pants, shoes, socks, everything.
I was soaked from head to toe.
I mean, obviously it was an accident.
One of the covers to the toilets had to be, I was taking it off to shut it off, and it was connected to the whole pipe. And it shot the whole water out.
I mean, this is one of the reasons why they rebuilt the new school, because this one, the pipes were old and rusted, and there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot.
It was old. Like, most of it was because of the Wi-Fi issues with the technical issue.
These classrooms don't have blackboards. They don't even really, I mean, they have dry erase boards, but they don't really use them as much as they do the Promethean boards, which are like smart boards. And so these boards are connected to their computer, or you can use them freestanding, because I use them freestanding when I'm there. And you can connect to Google Classrooms, you can connect to YouTube, draw on it, and write on it with a special pen. I mean, these things are really cool.
A lot more than what we used to have, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, all of their assignments are on Chromebook. So that's really got to cut down your job since the paper.
Well, I like to say so, but I can't say that for sure. Still go the same amount of paper we always had. So
you don't have to pick books.
No, we don't have to pick books up. There definitely have no books anymore.
Sometimes some teachers hand out printouts.
It's mostly, I don't think any teacher uses a regular book. It's mostly Chromebook stuff. But the math teachers still use a lot of paper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have to show their work, and it's hard to show their work on a computer. Right. So I can understand that. It might be easier if they had like digital pads they could write on. Some teachers will have printouts for the ones who don't have Chromebooks, or maybe they just forgot to bring them that day. These classrooms are also set up so much differently than any other high school I've ever seen, because these kids have rolling chairs.
Yes. But yeah, it's so much easier to clean the classrooms during the summer with this rolling house.
I mean, otherwise, when you were cleaning the classrooms in the summertime when the kids aren't there, you had to pull everything out.
But it was just a lot harder. We had to have dollies.
And so now, basically, the only thing that doesn't, well, some of the teachers' desks even roll.
Teachers' desks moving.
Yeah, I've subbed for a few that had stable desks, like science classrooms. Yeah, but that makes it so much easier. I mean, I'm sure it's annoying.
Yeah.
As a sub, I know that it can be annoying when you're telling them to clear the pathway. I can't walk through, But they also have like these little cubbies in the hallways they can go and hang out.
Common areas.
The idea behind that was to give them
more social
space.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're really kind of pushing social interaction with the school. Yeah. That's the way it's kind of set up. Right. And everything's automated, pretty cool. The lights and stuff are. Yeah. If nobody's moving around for very long, the lights turn off. They do turn off during planning period. If I have nothing to do, they turn off. I mean, and even if you are writing or something, you have to have big movement.
Yeah, you have to have somebody, I think, walking. which is usually don't go off when their classes are changing.
That knocked down something that you had to do every morning.
In the old building, I had to go around and turn all the hallway lights. I didn't clean classrooms, but I turned all the hallway lights.
And that's another thing that's different with this generation that I didn't have to deal with. Doors have to stay locked.
Yeah.
All doors, not just the outside doors, but the classroom doors.
Yeah, yeah.
The kid leaves, go to the bathroom, and we have to unlock it, let them out, and then lock it when they leave. Mm-hmm. And then they knock to get back in, and we have to unlock it.
The school shooting.
So you guys have never had really a school shooting, but you guys did have an incident with a gentleman trying to get in that. And
they did. Took care of pretty swiftly,
and he wasn't a student.
He was a former student.
He was under the influence of something. He didn't appear to be in his normal state of mind.
He wasn't.
Whether he was under the influence of drugs or alcohol, or maybe just having a mental breakdown, he was definitely impaired. And he tried to get in through a back door or side door.
It was all shut.
Yeah, and they stopped him from getting into the school.
Stopped before he got in.
And you guys, like most schools, you guys have a resource officer.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and so he's usually always there to help protect the school and lock it down. Yeah. So Jim is one of the guys that works with you. So my son told me that you guys took a shower together. So tell me about that.
I literally had to go around all the locker rooms and see what had hot water and who did not have hot water.
So you guys could
mark them? Know which ones it did not. So we was in there turning all the hot waters on and all the waters on in the shower.
So they were joking with you, saying you guys are in there taking showers. You get along with pretty much everybody.
Not pretty much along most of.
So you guys just kind of joke around, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I know you joke around like that with the kids sometimes, too. Oh, yeah. Kind of give you a backstory. Kenny's been given nicknames out for his entire life, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Since I was in construction.
You've given some of the students nicknames.
Yes, I have.
Probably a lot of the ones that you see on a regular basis. Yes. So like ones that hang out after school, like teachers' kids, athletes, clubs. Yeah. Do you do it so much as to remember who they are, or do you do it because you're picking on them?
No, I have to remember exactly who they are. Because I see faces, but I don't know names all the time.
Yeah, so you could just associate them with, like, what's a nickname of somebody that you've given a student?
Star is for our kids that is one of the stars of the plays for the last 2 years.
So she's like gets a lead in the plays and things like that. So you just call her Star now.
I call her Star.
You don't know her real name.
Yeah, I do know her only because I've read it so much.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing. Like you don't even call our kids by their real name.
They don't have real names. I call them by their nickname.
But I mean, if a kid ever came up to you and said, "Don't call me by that," you wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
And if there are kids that don't want to be called, I mean, they should definitely come up and say something.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be offended. Or going back, you said you first started in Owensboro or Davis County. Did you start off right off the bat as a full-time employee?
I subbed for a few months before I became full.
I know that you've trained a lot of people that's come in. So who trained you?
Mary Lewis was the woman that trained me at night at Davis County when I first started. She was a lot older, and she couldn't tell her she could do anything. But she's the one that first taught me how to use a scrubber. That was a very fun. A 60-year-old woman that could barely stand up straight. Her grabbed this because we was doing carpets, which is different from what we. So. She said, "This is what you're doing. You hold it like this. You tilt it down. Make sure it's your level where you want it." She said, "Okay, when you turn this knob and push the button in, it'll go." I said, "Okay." And she walked away. I don't know how far she walked away because she walked way far away from me. And all I kept thinking about, why are you going way over there? And when I turned it on, I figured out why she's going way over there because I went way over there because I didn't know how to control the thing.
But you're not really supposed to control that.
No, you're supposed to just let it. You're supposed to just guide it where it wants to go.
And you've always really liked scrubbing.
I love scrubbing tile floors.
You trained me how to do it to help with the job that I had done before. Yeah. At the Job Corps, but I'm not a biggest fan of scrubbing as he is, so I know how to do it. I'm just not a big fan. Yeah. Is there somebody you would like to acknowledge that did a lot for you?
Bertie Ford is the one that taught me how to be a custodian. He's my best friend's dad. I knew him long before I began working with him, but he's the one that got me started at Davis County, and he's the one that showed me what summer work was. He taught me everything I know.
If you could say something to him right now, what would you say?
Thank you for teaching me how to be a custodian. He's always been in my life. Like I said, my best friend, he was my baseball coach. Mm-hmm. He's the one that got me started as a custodian and showed me what it took to be a custodian.
What's the difference between a janitor and a custodian? Because I know a lot of kids will refer to you as a janitor, and it don't bother you.
No, it don't bother me. It's just different. There's a slight difference. I mean, technically there's not, but most janitors are mostly just cleaners. Custodians have a little bit to do with maintenance.
I mean, the word custodian is like being in charge of something or being in care of it. So you're not just cleaning the school, you're in care of the school. Yeah. Like you make sure that it functions.
Right. That's right.
The teachers and principals act like it's going to shut down if you're not there for a long period of time. They've learned now that the school will go on without you. Yeah. They don't like it.
No, it says they have always said it runs smoother when I'm around.
And that's just because you know where everything's at. I mean, you have keys for everything. Yeah. I mean, some of the teachers and principals have keys, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to want to go get them. Yeah. It's just easier because you already have yours.
I always keep mine on.
And you've been doing it for so long now that you know how everything's set up.
Pretty much, yeah.
I know you had to change things when they changed the schools.
Yes, figure it out as you go.
But you've pretty much got it down to
Yeah, we got it down to where it's easier for us to clean.
And you guys, like, if they have to set up for a banquet or if they have to set up for a game, or they know how to do it now. Like, I mean, when you're there, it's just easy for you to just tell them how to do it.
Yeah, it's so much simpler now. You just get used to it as you go, and it gets easier as you do.
So, I mean, I can understand why they would say that it runs more smooth there, because there are probably, I'm sure, if you're not there, there's custodians that come in there like, well, I don't know how this is ran, or I don't know how this is set up. When you broke your wrist and you were out for how long?
2 months.
Were you out 2 straight months?
Yeah, 2 months.
I feel like you went back way earlier.
I went back, but wasn't allowed to do it.
Okay, so we're in the doctor's office. His arm's broken. They just had surgery. He's coming back in for his first checkup after surgery, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And the doctor says, you can't do nothing at work, because not only do you have your left wrist that's immobile because you broke, but your right pinky is also immobile because you broke it at the same time.
Yeah.
And you had to have 2 surgeries on it. The doctor says, you're immobile. You're not going back to work. And you said, if you don't want me to go back, but you need to write it on the paper. And the doctor says, well, I can't really say you can't work, but I can write down everything that you shouldn't be doing, and then there's no reason for you to be there. Yeah. And your words were, they're still going to have me come back. Yeah. And they did.
I was there.
I mean, the doctor gave out a whole long list of, like, no lifting, no moving, no touching, no, like, I mean, you're pretty much not allowed to use them.
Yes.
Your hands are immobile.
Yeah, pretty much.
You go back and you hand him the paperwork, and the school says, but you can come in tomorrow, right? Yeah. And you said, what am I supposed to do? What did they have you do?
I just stood there and watched, basically.
Coming from being the person that usually does everything during the day to the person who just stood there and told people what to do?
Well, or helped them do stuff. Yeah, it was very weird.
I know that you said at one time they had given you a washcloth to, like, wipe discs down.
Yeah.
And so somebody would go around and spray them.
So I would wipe,
because you couldn't even lift the spray bottle.
Right.
You know, they had to have been tough on the ones who felt like they were doing all the work, and you're just standing there doing nothing.
Yes, I'm sure, and I understand. It's been me. I felt the same way.
I mean, they probably thought the same thing we did. You really didn't need to be here. You couldn't do anything. You were there to guide people.
I was there to guide the school, basically, or help it run a little smoother, as they would say.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's not so much as to put the kids at peace, too, because they worry when you're not there.
Yeah, they had.
Our kids were going to the school at the time.
Yeah.
They were constantly asking the kids, did he die? Yeah. Is he okay? Is he coming back?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and when you got sick, they were doing the same thing, and the kids kind of got to the point where they were like, when are you going back to work? I'm tired of answering questions.
Yes, even though everybody was asking them questions.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, they were worried.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
Yeah.
This has probably been the most welcoming and close-knit faculty that we've ever seen.
Yeah, we've worked with.
That we either worked with or that we have attended. Yeah. Even you had some kids that are older that attended different school systems. Yeah. And I don't even think none of those ones were like that.
No. I even graduated from the same one oldest daughter graduated from, and it wasn't like that.
I mean, it's just a really close-knit community. Like, they really do treat everybody there like family.
Yeah, they do. They feel like you're all family. And when they really say you're once a purple, you're always
a purple. Yeah, we didn't even graduate there, but we're purples.
Oh, yeah, we're purples no matter what.
I mean, our kids graduated there, but we're purple.
Yeah, they feel like we're purple.
If you've got kids going there, or if you've got family that works there, you're pretty much purple.
Yeah, you're purple.
Let's talk about the purples. Most schools, they have a specific animal or a specific icon that they say is their mascot. So the mascot kind of looks like a ghost.
Yes.
So it's basically, if I had to guess a way to describe it, it would probably look like a large Casper on steroids, because he's kind of bulky.
He's bulky.
Yeah, so imagine a ghost that played football, but he was solid purple.
He's all purple with H on front.
And you gave him a nickname.
I gave him the nickname Bob.
Yeah, so Bob the Ghost.
Bob the Ghost. Yeah.
Did you ever have any run-ins with any Bob Ghost?
I didn't say I never saw it, but he did. I feel like he played with the hand dryers in the bathrooms in the old building a lot.
You don't think there could have just been old?
No, but I just feel it was like the same time every. It always was going off at the same time.
Was it this school system or a different one that when you called me the day that the library books were falling off the shelf?
Oh, that was the old building. It's in the library of the old library.
This new library, it has some books, but it don't have a lot of books. It's mostly digital stuff.
Oh, yeah, the books on the top shelf were getting pushed off, and there was nobody there.
But now I do remember in the old building, you used to say that you hated cleaning the nursing rooms at night.
Yeah.
Because they have like mannequins.
Yes, and the dummies.
So they have the dummies that are laying in the bed that they learn how to do CPR and stuff like that on.
You would see them breathe.
Yeah, and so is that because you just get, it's just kind of like when you're in a room and you kind of see mannequins and you start seeing them move, but they're really not moving.
Yeah, it was, especially when you're busy and you're paying attention with it, and all of a sudden you see a glimpse of something move. Oh, gee.
Or if you just happen to glance and it looks like a person there. And yeah, so I can imagine that being kind of scary at night.
It was not scary, but it was weird.
How many principals have you worked under?
3.
And the first one, he's now
He's
superintendent.
the superintendent.
So you only worked with him for 1 year?
Well, basically a year and a half. It was half a year, basically. Because he was leaving from principal going to superintendent. Mr. Tinius was the superintendent when I started in September.
Gary Fields moved to superintendent. And then you had Mr. King, right?
Mr. King.
For 2 years. And then he went to go do technology stuff.
Yeah.
So he does like all the tech
He's
stuff.
in charge of tech.
I would rather do tech stuff too. And then McGraw came in. And you've been under McGraw for how many years?
3, I believe. Oh, well, yeah, 4, almost 4 or 5. Because he's been there almost since new building.
I mean, because you really didn't get to spend as much time with any of them except for McGraw.
Yeah, I've been around McGraw morning. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But he's a pretty good principal.
He's been good for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's concerned about you enough that till the day that you broke your wrists and pinky. So you fell off this ladder and you land. I'm assuming you put your hands out.
I put my hands down and catch it.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
If Hunter ever taught you anything, it was a bad idea. You break your wrist, you break your pinky. Your pinky immediately looks broken.
Yeah, it was pointing to the right.
Yeah, it was like 90 degrees to the side. Yeah. Definitely not supposed to look like that. Yeah. You said Jim was there with you.
Jim was the one.
So he sees you fall and he's like, "Hey, you good?"
Yeah. I said, "No.
It's just your hands, so nothing else was hurting."
No, I was fine.
And you walk down to...
I walked to the office to talk to the nurse at the time because she just looked at me and goes, "I can't do nothing. I can't fix that. We need to take you to the emergency room."
Which is right across the street.
That's what we had at the time.
Yeah, so Jim drives you.
Yeah.
Because you can't drive yourself. You have no hands.
But yeah, when McGraw saw me, he goes, "What happened?" I said, "Well, I think I broke my wrist and pinky." He goes, "How'd you get down here?" "A walk." He goes, "How'd you walk down here?" I said, "Well, my legs wasn't broke. It's my hands."
My legs are fine. I walked down here. McGraw says
I see how you see all the pain. You should be laying on the floor.
Yeah.
I didn't have any pain.
It didn't hurt.
No.
At all?
I had
no.
I didn't. I could think it was an adrenaline type. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think when you were more scared when you got to the hospital.
Yeah, I was more scared because he was going to show up.
Mm-hmm. So McGraw comes and sees you at the hospital for a second.
He was going to come see me at the hospital, and he said he didn't, because it was during COVID, so they knew it had limited people. So he said, "No, I'm not going to go see him. I'll let his wife go see him." I said, "Well, if I'd known that, I told you to get back here so my wife wouldn't get back here, because I know what she's going to do when she gets back here."
I was pretty mad. I mean, I was glad you're okay, but I was pretty mad. I mean, that just shows how concerned that not many principals or teachers or anything like that goes to the hospital to see how you're doing.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so I can understand him being pretty concerned. I mean, that kind of set through the whole motion of people starting to really realize what it's like when you're not there.
Yeah.
And you know how much you're missed. Yeah. This session was requested by kids. Did a survey on our class because we had nothing else to do. And so I was kind of like, what kind of podcast stories do you like to listen to? And, you get your typical murder, crime, true crime, stuff like that. I said, well, Kenny's my husband, so would you listen if you knew Kenny was going to be on it? Entire class goes, of course. I said, well, give me some ideas of something I could have him talk about. They really just kind of wanted to, like, a day in the life of Kenny. We'll go through, like, your day and then when you're working, and then let's go through a day that you didn't work. You get to school about 5:45.
Yeah. You're
going around.
I get there. I was go in, fill up my water bottle, go put stuff on my desk. I get my radio, get my coffee cup.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to get coffee, then I clock in, and then I go start getting all my trash cans out for the breakfast. And like I said, if I have to go out to the courtyard, I raise all the umbrellas.
And then so the kids start coming in, they start grabbing breakfasts. And then this school's the first school I've ever seen that actually had its second breakfast.
They have second breakfast.
I feel like they're hobbits.
Yeah, they are hobbits. They get 11 C's too, if I think.
Yeah, they get breakfast and second breakfast and 11 C's and afternoon tea. But they also have a coffee shop.
Yes, they do. They have a coffee shop where the new building is.
And that's crazy because, like, if I had a coffee shop, when I was in school, kids didn't drink coffee.
No.
Nobody liked coffee. Coffee was an adult drink. It didn't come in all the fancy flavors. You might have had, like, a hazelnut or a vanilla or Italian creamer, and that's about it. All right? That's what you grew up with?
Basically had coffee and creamer and sugar. That's all.
Yeah. And so this is kind of like a small mini Starbucks.
It's very small. Yeah.
But they don't give sugar.
No, it's sugar-free.
Yeah, because it's a school rule.
Yeah, it is.
I had made the suggestion that you should, like, baggy up some sugar.
Yes.
Start selling them out like dime bags. So did you ever say that to Wheat?
Yes, he did. He just got a kick out of it. He said, "Don't get in trouble. Be careful what you're going to sell right here."
Well, I mean, if they taste it, they're going to find out it's sugar.
Yeah.
Can they even get you in trouble?
I don't know.
I mean, is sugar considered contraband in a high school now?
No, I don't think so.
So if the kids brought their own sugar, it'd be okay. Have you ever had the school's coffee in the coffee shop?
No, I haven't.
Just curious to see how good it tastes because it's never open when I get there.
I just go what the kids say. Some of them like it, some of them don't. Mostly because of sugar. But they do get flavor, so I'm not sure. Because I don't think most of it's not gluten-free, so that's why I don't get it.
After you get all the trash cans and stuff ready for them, then what are you doing?
I wait for the kids to come in and build. which usually comes around. First one usually shows up around 6:30.
Do you like stand at the door and greet them as they're walking
I
in?
sit at a table. I don't stand up.
Oh,
I used to stand in. I used to sit at the door in the old when we was transitioning from new building to old building. I used to sit in the chair and hold the door open.
Yeah.
But now I sit at the table. Oh, we have the doors propped open, watching doors, just so somebody it's not supposed to be in. Don't come.
Yeah, because I mean, you have to keep the doors open so students can get in.
Yeah.
Do you help kind of corral kids sometimes when they're in the hallway, or?
Not really. I'll joke around with them like, you need to get to class. I'm gonna tell Mr. Reese if you don't get to class. I don't really corral them.
And you've never really seen kids doing anything bad.
No, not really. I've seen a few fights of them. That's bad.
So after breakfast, you're usually doing all the cleanup and throwing trash away.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do between breakfast and lunch?
I eat my lunch before they eat their lunch, so I'm available while they're eating. So I usually eat my lunch before 10.
So about the time you're done with breakfast cleanup, you can go grab a small lunch.
Just go get
as long as your radio don't.
Right, as long as radio go off, I usually go eat my lunch, and then I get up and get ready for
lunch. Comes around. About the time you're done, lunch is coming around.
Yeah.
And then you're doing all the cleanup for the lunch and making sure that the kids are, we would like to say that we would make sure that the kids would throw their trash away, but you basically go around and collect it.
We try to go around and collect it for us.
This is where you're greeting the kids and talking with them, picking on them and things like that. And that's why they've kind of gotten more familiar with you.
Yeah.
And I think you remember you telling me one time that Birdie used to do that with the grade schoolers.
Yes, I did.
And so they would were attached to him like these kids are attached to you.
Yes, some way.
They would recognize him out in public. Right. And I mean, so this kind of was one of the things he kind of distilled in you as a custodian. I remember also you had a student come up and ask you to stand up with him at a baseball game.
Yeah, they was doing staff night, and they wanted each player had to ask a kid, somebody that was in to help support them through the school. And he asked me to stand up for him.
So you got to stand up for one.
In the national.
Yeah. And then they also asked you to throw the first pitch.
Yeah, they did. It was a very bad pitch, but
after lunch, what are you doing? Besides, I know that you're cleaning up and stuff like that, but once lunch is over,
I clean the floors. By the time the floors, I'm waiting for we get ready for the night people, and we with certain things we need to get done. I'll discuss what needs to be done at night.
So when you clean the floors, what do you mean? You just go around sweeping and mopping?
I ride a machine that I use to clean the floors. Nobody mops hardly anymore.
So it kind of looks like a mini Zamboni.
Yes.
Like something that would be cleaning the ice with, you were cleaning the floors with.
Yeah.
You just ride around on it.
I ride on it.
I feel like that would be my favorite thing to do.
Well, it used to be. It's not fun as it used to be.
Why is it not fun?
Because it's actually work. It's not fun.
Yeah, but you're just riding around.
Yeah, still got to be cleaning. So you got to pay attention to what you.
So you got to pay attention, not just drive around and have fun.
Yeah.
But it kind of brings you back to your go-kart racing days.
Yeah, it's back in my race.
Yeah. So a lot of students don't know a lot about you because, I mean, how much can you get to know somebody in a couple minutes here and there? Used to be a part of a race team.
Yes, I used to part on a race team back in my younger days in my 20s. We raced at Highland Run Speak.
But you're a pretty positive, upbeat person.
I try to be.
I mean, I would say that you do what you know and you stick with it.
Yeah.
And even if the job changes or the school changes or the students change, you still fit right in and you always find a place.
Yeah, I make it work for it.
Is there anybody at Bowling Green that you'd like to shout out to?
Yes, I mean, I like everybody there.
It's like everybody equal.
Everybody's equal to me.
I don't want to single nobody out.
No, I've had kids ask me.
Yeah.
You like me better? No. Everybody's the same.
Yeah.
Nobody one better than the other. Just because your nickname sounds different from everybody else, it doesn't mean I like you better.
Yeah.
It just helps me remember who you are.
And I know there's some kids that you've remembered their names really easily. You don't really have to give them nicknames.
No, right.
A lot of times it's either your teacher's kids. You see them a lot more.
I play a lot of the teachers' kids more. Yeah, I can say this. This is going to be the hardest senior class I've ever had.
As far as
missing them.
Oh, okay.
I grew up with a lot of them. They've been there since I've been there. I mean, they was little kids and they're graduating.
Yeah.
We got the most teacher kids graduating this year than I've ever had. I got a lot of kids graduate.
This year, I mean, you'll be working the graduation, but you're still going to have to say goodbye to a lot of kids.
A lot of kids I saw grow up.
We enjoyed recording it and hope that you guys enjoyed listening to it.
And it's Kenny saying goodbye. I'll see y'all at school.
Thank you once again for tuning in to this highly anticipated episode. It was an absolute joy to revisit and share the rich tapestry of memories Kenny has accumulated over the years. We had an incredible time as Kenny illuminated his day-to-day experiences, offered heartfelt advice, and shared the invaluable lessons he's learned throughout his remarkable journey. His stories not only entertained us, but also inspired us all. I'm sure we will have him back on our show again. To make sure you don't miss any future episodes, please don't forget to subscribe. You can find us on all your popular streaming apps. Also, check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/apennyforyourthoughts, where you can get updates on future episodes, early access, and so much more. I'm your host, Penny Rose, and this is A Penny for Your Thoughts.